Okay, so here's an amazing thing. It's Thursday, and you are leaving for Peru tomorrow morning
Yeah.
for an internship. Can you share a little bit with us about this decision to go to Peru, what you'll be doing, what you're anticipating?
Yeah, about a year ago, Carol Parker, the head of the EcoPsych program, sent out an email about a new internship opportunity at Southwestern College. And it was, you go to Peru, and that was it, right? So I don't know anything else about it, but something about the email was like, oh, I need to go, I want to go, right? So I set that intention way back when, and I said, well, I'll study Spanish. I don't know Spanish, so, you know, my long-term goals of a year. Okay, I'll spend a year studying Spanish. I'll get ready in these ways. I didn't do any of that. So I think it was like 3 months ago, I was pretty set. I said, my internship is going to be where I've worked for 2.5 years. That's what I need to do. I started planning my life, right? And then you know what happens next. All those plans come crashing down. So I got into a place where all possibilities were available. And I had to be okay with that. You know, it was a surrendering process again. And Peru was still on the radar, and I had Hawaii on the radar, and a few in Santa Fe were still, okay, maybe we'll just see what happens. I won't force anything, because I saw how that worked out. And we were sitting in class one day, and Webb Garrison, the dean here, he said to Eric Golden, he said, Eric, you're going to Peru, right, for internship? Eric had never thought about going to Peru. I don't know where this came from, but I saw it in his eyes and in his body. As soon as Webb said that to him, it kind of caught him off guard. It's like, something's here. You know, he wants to work with those kids. I could feel it before he even told me, right? And he comes up to me later. He's like, yeah, I think working with the kids would be amazing. And I felt it before he even told me. And I started thinking, because you know, there were a lot of roadblocks in the way for him or for me if I just started thinking that way. But we started talking about how we could support each other through this, you know. A friend of ours, Becky, had already decided to do next year's internship in Peru. And she had Pimsleur, a Spanish program that you could do an audio CD, and it was really quick. You know, it just got in there. And I said, well, we could study together. You know, we could support each other through this whole process. So it was only because Webb said that to Eric, and Eric felt that way, that I ever thought I would do it, because I had already dismissed it as, well, it's out there, but I don't know Spanish, and, you know, what am I going to do at 17,000 feet with 67 kids? That sounds crazy, right? So I started talking to Eric, and we're still not sure, you know, so a friend of ours puts together a fundraiser, and that goes really well, and everything just starts lining up, and he eventually decides not to go. So it was another major shift. You know, I'd already been studying Spanish and getting ready for this trip, and it was an opportunity to go two ways. Do I decide not to go because he's not going, or do I surrender even more? And that was a big choice. And still, something said way back from the email, keep going, go to Peru, right? So I just felt drawn. I said, okay, it's going to be okay. Let me get my resources together here. What do I have, right? And I've got support from all these different areas. While I'm down there, there'll be an art teacher who comes on Saturdays. We'll get art supplies together. He has art projects set up. We'll do them with the 67 kids, you know. And I've got Deb Schroeder from the art therapy department. I can email her, oh, these are the supplies I have during the week. Oh, what kind of art projects could I do, you know? Start thinking, okay, I've got resources back here that I can still communicate with, you know? So I'm going to be okay. I'm going to create that safe space for myself again in this new environment, new culture, new language, 2 new languages, Quechua too. And what am I going to do down there? I'm going to, the first 10 days is with Carol Parker. Once a year she goes down and studies with a shaman named Adolfo in the Andes Mountains. So these are glacial mountains. We're going to learn from him. Some of these things are taught here at the school. Another man from that area, Jose Luis Herrera, comes up once a year, teaches us the way of the mesa. So this is a bundle of stones from sacred places, mainly apus, so mountain spirits from your area that you've been to, and you do a ceremony and you add them to your collection. And now this is a tangible way to connect back to the energy, the healing energy of those places in nature. And you can use that with clients. I've never done it with a client, but maybe one day I'll feel comfortable enough to do that if somebody's open for it. But for myself, it's been huge. You know, I go off to these places and with this intention of asking it for a stone to donate to my mesa and doing ceremony with the rattle, and it's just a beautiful thing. So we're going to learn more about that. We're going to learn more about a ceremony called despacho. Despacho is one of the most amazing ceremonies I've been a part of. You have all these different items that make up a despacho. Basically, you're making a gift for Mother Earth. They call it Pachamama down there. And so each thing you're placing an intention in. So a prayer for the stars, a prayer for your family, your lineage, a prayer for yourself, a prayer for the Mother Earth. All these different prayers. And it takes as long as you want. It could be hours, right? And then you wrap that up, you bundle it up, and you can either burn it in a fire and it's released in the spirit, or you can bury it and it takes longer. It decomposes into Mother Earth, into Pachamama. And so that's the kind of stuff we'll learn. But one initiatory experience that I know of that we'll do, that I'm very intimidated of, but I'm willing to do it, we go 17,000 feet up into the Andes Mountains. There's the main mountain, the tallest one, is called Ausangate. This is a mountain that melts its glaciers every summer and nourishes the community, the people, the animals, the plants. And so obviously they have a relationship with it. They call it Aini, so a reciprocity with the land, a reciprocity with everything around you. You know, there's a give and a take to everything, and you're in balance with it. So we're going to go up to the top of this mountain where there's a glacial lake, a freezing glacial lake, Jim. And I'm going to be tossed into that glacial lake. This is something they've been doing for a long, long time. An initiatory experience similar to baptism. Maybe a little more intense because of the freezing water. But all of these things seem to get you out of your thinking mind, or what I call the monkey mind, the chatter that happens up here. All that's gone, well, at least for that time. You know, whether it's pipe ceremony, the tobacco does that for you. Sweat lodge, the intense heat, does that for you. Being thrown in a freezing lake, I'm sure does that for you.
I'm guessing it would.
Yeah. So that's the first 10 days. And then I'll spend a couple of weeks at a language school studying Spanish and Quechua in Arequipa. And by the way, in Arequipa, there is a canyon that's larger than Grand Canyon that you can visit. Not much promotion about that going on, so get that out there. And then after that, I'll spend the rest of the time, the rest of my 3-month period, in a village called Maras. And this is an impoverished village, and it's a co-sponsored internship, Southwestern College, and a place called the Andean Research Institute. Their goals are to eradicate the poverty in the areas, get resources there, teach traditions, so the ones that I learned up in the mountains, so that they don't die off. So they're opening it up to Western society, to other societies, anybody who's interested in learning these ways, because you know they don't want it to die off. So these two entities sponsored me to be there and work with the kids. There's going to be 67 kids. I'll do art projects, art therapy, play therapy, social skills, hopefully some Vipassana. I know there's some barriers there with the language and the culture, and so I can't maybe convey these concepts in the same way, but I'll have to get creative in the moment and figure out how to do that, because I think it's a really important teaching that could be helpful for all those areas the parents want the kids to learn in. And then there's something I'm forgetting about that experience. Oh, I know what it is. Today, I met with Deb Schroeder, right? And I just started generating ideas. I don't know if it was her presence or what, but I started thinking that this could be a culmination. Okay, so at the beginning, we're working on art and play and getting into some of that somatic work or play therapy or psychodrama where the kids act out, you know, animal noises or something. But I'll speak with somebody there about the folklore of that area of Maras, right? The stories. Stories are bound to include animals and all these things, right? So we'll do art with the animals, we'll do play therapy with the animals, and we're building until we do a show on the last day, like a play. And I think it's going to be beautiful, right? So we get all the parents to come and watch the kids do this play of this local folk tale or whatever it ends up being, but it's a progression. It's something to point to, you know, whenever I'm lost, whenever I don't know what to say or what to do. Oh yeah, this is where we're going, kids, right? Right? Like, there's a goal to this, and I think it's just a beautiful vision that Deb and I co-created. I think, yeah.